Tonight, the Attorney General of the United States echoes a talking point from the president and those around him, telling Congress spying did occur on the Trump campaign. It's a loaded word and a weighty charge, and Democrats exploded in response. On the Mueller front, William Barr said he hopes to put the report out next week, while the president describes it as an attempted coup that he defeated. And the Wall Street Journal reports Trump insiders Keith Schiller and Hope Hicks have both spoken to the feds about Trump's hush money payments. The reporter who broke this story is here with us as the 11th hour gets underway on a Wednesday night. Well, good evening once again from our NBC News headquarters here in New York. Day 811 of the Trump administration. It's a charge we have heard from the president and from several people on Fox News that the Trump campaign was somehow spied upon by our government in a way that circumvented due process in this country. Well, today we heard our Attorney General, William Barr, make that same charge. It came during a hearing of the Senate Appropriations Committee.
One of the things I want to do is pull together all the information from the various investigations that have gone on, including on the Hill and in the department, and see if there are any remaining questions to be addressed. We want to make sure that during an election, I think spying on a political campaign is a big deal. I'm not talking about the FBI necessarily, but intelligence agencies more.
So you're not suggesting, though, that spying occurred?
I don't. I guess you could. I think spying did occur. Yes, I think spying did occur.
Have you any evidence that there was anything improper in those investigations?
I have no specific evidence that I would cite right now.
That statement right there, and some of Barr's actions have left his critics with the notion that he views the president as his client and not the American people. Barr's comments were unexpected. Spying is a loaded word with legal ramifications, and noting that the Attorney General chose to use that word, he was then given an opportunity to clarify his remarks.
I want to give you a chance to rephrase something you said, because I think when the Attorney General of the United States uses the word spying, it's rather provocative and, in my view, unnecessarily inflammatory.
You know, unauthorized surveillance. I want to make sure there was no unauthorized surveillance. Is that more appropriate in your mind?
This is your call.
Not entirely clear what Barr meant by either spying or unauthorized surveillance. He offered no evidence. But there has been speculation this may have been a reference to the case involving former Trump campaign advisor Carter Page. The New York Times reminds us, quote, the FBI obtained a secret surveillance warrant on Page after he left the campaign, and reports have suggested it used at least one confidential informer to collect information on campaign associates. And from the Wall Street Journal, quote, the department's inspector general is examining whether the FBI and federal prosecutors abused their authority in obtaining warrants from the nation's secret spy court. The attorney general's testimony came about half an hour after the president took his own shots at the nearly two-year-old Russia investigation. His comments seemed to serve as a preview to his attorney general.
It was an illegal investigation. This was an attempted coup. This was an attempted takedown of a president. What I'm most interested in is getting started. Hopefully the Attorney General, he mentioned it yesterday, he's doing a great job getting started on going back to the origins of exactly where this all started.
Trump added that he thinks Barr is, quote, doing a great job. The Attorney General has been on the job about 8 weeks. Aaron Blake of the Washington Post writes this about their relationship, quote, signs are increasing that Barr is at least saying the kinds of things Trump wants to hear. Republicans in Congress welcome Barr's comments about spying on the Trump campaign. Congressman Mark Meadows, Republican of North Carolina, steadfast Trump supporter, wrote, quote, we've seen 2 years' worth of evidence that intelligence community executives did this. The AG's willingness to investigate it is massive. Accountability is around the corner. Meanwhile, Meadows' fellow party members in the Senate say they have their own questions about the federal inquiry.
If you really believed that Trump's campaign was being infiltrated by Russians, why didn't you tell him so he could do something about it? And how could Clinton get away with all of this and not have anything, no charges at all?
I want to know, did they have credible evidence? Were they in good faith in investigating Secretary Clinton and her campaign and in investigating President Trump and his campaign?
Meanwhile, and as we mentioned, Democrats had a different reaction to the AG's choice of words today.
Let me just say how very, very dismaying and disappointing that the chief law enforcement officer of our country is going off the rails yesterday and today.
I'm flabbergasted. When you start linking spying with law enforcement or the intelligence community, that sets off red flags everywhere.
Let's bring in our leadoff panel on a Wednesday night. Barrett Berger is back with us, a former assistant U.S. attorney with both the Eastern District of New York and the Southern District of New York. And tonight we're happy to welcome her as an NBC News and MSNBC legal analyst. Jeff Bennett, White House correspondent for NBC News. Frank Figliuzzi, former FBI assistant director for counterintelligence. And Robert Costa, national political reporter for the Washington Post, moderator of Washington Week on PBS. Good evening and welcome to you all. Frank, given your experience, tell us how easy or hard it is to get a FISA warrant, and could the work done under a FISA warrant be construed as spying in the name of that warrant?
Brian, look, the performance of this Attorney General over the last 2 days has been abysmal. And what he did today by invoking the spying connotation was he threw what I would call a flashbang grenade into the room. By that, I mean it's anyone who's been involved or associated with tactical teams in law enforcement or the military will know that a flashbang grenade is designed to disorient and distract with a flash of light and a loud noise, but it's not made to take out personnel. What he did today was he tossed a flashbang grenade into the room at the behest of this president. He's falling in line with this president, and the notion that the FBI was somehow spying on a campaign when what it has been proven to have done was lawfully investigate with predication allegations that the Russians were involved with this campaign. The Inspector General has looked at this and reviewed it. There's been ad nauseum review of this scenario, yet we have an Attorney General who seems to be serving as a consigliere for the mob boss, the president. And the last 2 days have gravely disappointed me and left me with little hope that this Attorney General is actually going to represent the law as opposed to represent the president.